In this video, I'm going to explain why I believe the modern sim racing fanboy is holding racing simulators and specific simulators back. My reasons might be somewhat surprising and not what you expect, so fasten your seatbelts and get ready for a bit of a wild ride on this one. If you are one of these weirdo specific sim fanboys, I highly recommend packing a parachute because we're going to be taking a plane up to 30,000 foot, opening the door and pushing you out of it. Make yourself a cup of tea and let's get talking. This video is sponsored by preemptive like button clickers. Thank you guys, really appreciate it. To be clear, this video is not aimed at people that happen to just be a fan of a singular racing simulator. You know, you might just play iRacing, Race Room, AC, or you just play one simulator, you happen to really enjoy it, it's all you play. You maybe tell your friends, oh, this is what I play, I really enjoy it, you might really enjoy it as well. That's fine. I would say that it's probably good to branch out and try different things because you might, if you actually spend time on other sims, find stuff there that you really enjoy that you're missing out on. But there's nothing wrong with sticking to the sim that tickles your pickle if it's tickling your pickle. Those are not the type of fanboy that I'm targeting in this video, so breathe a sigh of relief if you only play one sim and happen to really enjoy it. The fanboy that I'm targeting, or I should say the two types of fanboy that I'm targeting, are the mega fanboy. These are people that have an account on their sim of choice developer forum, with them not only posting valid feedback, which is a good thing that fanboys do, but with them having a sizable chunk of posts where someone will just suggest something critical, maybe they would like something with the sim, or maybe they dislike something with a simulator. These super mega fanboys will always reply to those questions as if they are talking for the developer and as if they are in a higher position as opposed to anyone else that happens to have just bought a bloody simulator. These super mega fanboys will also leak out of their sim forum of choice, and you'll find them on Reddit, BSim Racing, in the past Virtual R, and you know, anytime a game will be updated and a post is made, they'll be there waiting to bat down any reasonable criticism or analysis of that update of the game or announcement. They'll be there with a list, sometimes a 1,000-word essay, often disjointed and nonsensical, to explain why the person with the criticism is totally wrong. Crucially, you'll also find this type of fanboy somehow injecting the fact that their game of choice is the best game into everything. Like, you know, a post could be about motion rigs, a post could be about, could be any game. It could be, you know, you probably find them on something about Outer Hebrides weather systems, and they'll be posting about that. They'll respond about how their driving simulator is the best. So that's this type of super mega fanboy, the category 1 fanboy, and what I think is the classic, that's the classic fanboy. We've had them for decades. But what I think is new and that's come about more from the popularity of driving simulators, especially in the last 2 years, is a sort of category 2 fanboy. They're in a sense subservient to the category 1 fanboys, and they're basically just tribalist zombies for a specific title. They don't have the vocabulary or even the knowledge that the category 1 fanboys have. They are literally totally brain dead zombie followers of the given title that they happen to have latched onto. And I definitely think this category 2 fanboy has massively increased in the last 2 years, and I think it has held back driving simulators. And I'm going to explain why. So let's be real here. First of all, you know, developers are working as hard as they can to just get things done within a given time frame. Games development is bloody hard, and sim development is bloody hard, but with the additional element of having hundreds of thousands of tiny little variables that all need to be in place for it to be realistic. So ultimately, a developer is normally so busy just trying to get things to work at a basic functional passable level that really they're not paying that much attention to any high level conceptual forum posts by category 1 fanboys or what anyone in a community really wants. It's kind of a bit of a lie of the games industry where developers are like, oh yes, we really value suggestions from the community, because in reality 99.9% of the suggestions made are things that the developer is already aware of and would probably like to do themselves, but they haven't either got around to it, B, they haven't got enough time to do it, or C, it's just not technically feasible within the current project structure. So, you know, that's just the reality of it, I'm afraid. That said, if a sizable portion of a game's community are relatively vocal in demanding a specific feature, developers will often pay attention to that. So they won't pay attention to like some arbitrary random thing or complaint, but if a good chunk of people are demanding something, you know, a developer will be like, hang on, there's our user base really wants this. We should probably take away time from something else to put it onto that. A really good example would be VR support in a lot of these racing titles, especially earlier on. Now VR headsets are a lot more popular, so it makes a bit of business sense now. But previously, the business sense just really wasn't there. Short-term business return from doing VR support just really wasn't there, because there are not that many people with VR headsets. But within each game's community, there have been quite sizable VR fanatics and people pushing for VR support in their driving simulators, enough that the developers are like, oh, okay, actually, you know, a lot of sim racers really do want VR support. It's kind of fundamental to their experience of the game. And so as a result, a lot of driving sims now, even if it's even in some cases where it's a bit half-assed, at least they've tried to actually accommodate VR support, and that's purely from the user bases putting pressure on them. Now, what's happened with all these new tier 2 fanboys, as I say, it seems to be largely in the last few years, due to the growth of sim racing, that this has really happened, is that because these tier 2 fanboys are total zombies and they're just bootlickers, they basically drown out any criticism or any critical points or any critical things that come from people that are playing multiple simulators, and they're like, oh, hang on, this really stands out as a problem in this title relative to other titles. These bootlicker fanboys just mute that out straight away. So from a forum perspective, developers really have no awareness of what the more critical fans would want. And so basically the developer is only aware of what their bootlickers want, which, because they're bootlickers, they basically will just accept anything the developer puts out, which then means that the developer is no longer really over any pressure or direction to accommodate what a user base wants. It's basically just turns into, well, what is the developer going to do is what the developer does. In fairness, what the developer does and what the developer wants to do is most of what they would do anyway, regardless of what any user base says. But I definitely think that these Category 2 fanboys have effectively removed pretty much any voice a community had in terms of really shaping the direction of a game, or at least removed the little amount of shaping that a user base had. I honestly think if VR was starting now, so if it was now how it was sort of 6 or 7 years ago, I think that it would be a lot harder to sort of get the VR support in the games, because I think the bootlickers would shut the VR fans down straight away, and developer would be like, oh well, there's no real demand for it, so we won't bother. Outside of those bootlicker fanboys muting and white noising everybody, I'd also say the Category 1 fanboys, when anyone sees their posts online, it's just massively off-putting. Nobody reads the fanboy posts on YouTube videos and Reddit and whatever and goes, oh, that was you've convinced me. I was so wrong. Because these fanboy posts, they're not comparing and contrasting multiple things or you know, actually just presenting a rounded thing, or just being very informative and specific. They are very much just outright mental fanboyism. And I don't know, maybe not everyone reacts this way, but personally, I look at stuff like that, and it makes, even if a game is good, even if it's a sim that I like, I really enjoy playing Race Room, but it has some mental fanboys that only play Race Room. I quite enjoy playing Automobilista too, but it has mental fanboys. iRacing, yeah, so I like playing all these simulators. I do like, I'm a bigger fan of the original Assetto Corsa in totality more than others, but whenever I get these fanboys in the YouTube comments, or I see them on other websites, it just puts me off The Sims. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a bit of a contrarian, but it just makes me go, I don't want to support your your mental fanboyism. And when someone replies to any criticism online, if I'm writing something that's critical, because I'm a little bit critical, you might have noticed, and someone goes on one of these mental fanboy diatribes, I basically now mentally blacklist these people. I just don't read the comment. They're just wasting their time. It's just so, it's just really, you know, it's like having a guy on a soapbox on a street corner shouting, you know, like, or one of those Latter-day Saint people repeatedly knocking on your door. And they're not, if they brought cups of tea, I'd be all right with it. But you know, they're just shouting a specific thing in your face, and it's like, what? That's, nobody wants to hear that. Go away, go away. And to be clear, you can still make a good case for your, you know, you can still, someone could say something that's actually wrong about a specific thing, and you can point out why it's wrong very clearly, and you can contrast different sims into it, and you can actually, you know, contribute in a way that's pleasant to read and not off-putting. But, you know, these fanboys do not know how to do that. If you find yourself literally always defaulting back to a singular sim for everything, that is a good sign that you have fanboyitis, and you need to get into Gamer Muscle Airways 30,000 foot and jump out the door without a parachute. I don't know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you agree with me that fanboys are holding Sims back, or white noising and muting valid criticism of Sims, especially of the Sims communities? Do you agree with that? And do you agree that the Category 1 fanboys should tone it down, play more Sims, be a bit more rounded, and as a result, make it not so face-palmy when you have to read their comments? I mean, you know, at the end of the day, though, we can all agree on the fact that there's only one thing worse than fanboys, Category 1 or Category 2, and that's YouTubers. So, I'm sorry. But, well, there you go, guys. That's this video. What a delight. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe and like. More content on the way. You love it. It's amazing content. I'm interested to see how well this video goes. I don't know if people like my sim musing with Gamer Muscle. But yeah, happy tea drinking, everybody. Have a nice Sunday. Goodbye.